Hey, this is Daniel Norton. I'm here in my studio in New York City with Erica. And I wanted to show you guys kind of a simple one light setup here, but mostly because I want to talk about how contrast can change the shape of the model's face and how you can set the contrast of your light by its angle. Okay, so I'm working with a really simple setup here. I've got a Profoto B1X right here, right above my camera, almost like a giant on-camera flash, with a 2-foot octagon box. I put the grid on here so I could keep control to show you guys a little bit more like what it will look like. You could do this with or without a grid if you want to shoot for yourself, but I'm keeping the grid on to make it a little more obvious what's happening. So right now the light's just very directional. It's just going to come straight across. It's going to light Erica. It's going to light the background a little bit, and it's going to have relatively low contrast in the shadows because all the shadow is going to go back. Low contrast on her face anyways. So I've got my camera here, Canon camera, tethered into Capture 1. I'm using an 85mm lens, and I'm at 5.6, 250th of a second, 100 ISO. I'm going to take a shot, make sure my exposure looks good. Okay, that's a good basic exposure, and we can see here that if you look at the shadow pattern, you see a little under her chin, but basically there's virtually no shadow around her nose. It's just going straight back, right? Very, very flat in that sense. Pushing it back could be kind of useful for some stuff. If she extended her neck forward, it could be really good to kind of push the cheekbones. So this is a pretty good way to shoot for some level of contrast. But if we want to mess around with it a little bit, I can actually just take my box, simply start to tilt it down. Now, just because of the nature of where I have the light positioned, I'm going to have to raise it as well, because if I don't, it's going to be in front of my lens. So I'm just going to raise it up so it's not being seen anymore. Come a tiny bit, okay, and then we're going to take another shot. We'll see what the difference here is, right? So now we can see, if you start to look at the shadow pattern, see how it's starting to drop under her nose, it's starting to come under her chin here. We're going to start to see some shadow under her lips. So you can see both of these at once, right? It's a little more contrasty. And I'm going to raise the light a little bit more because I know I'm going to tilt it a little bit more. And I'm going to keep working it like this. So again, the light's more or less in the same spot. If I need to, I can adjust the exposure slightly. We can see here now the shadows are really starting to drop, and it's really making her face, the sides of her face come in like nice and narrow. I got the light more or less centered, although it is a little bit off to one side, and we can see the shape it's making. Now it is starting to get some light under her eyebrows, so as we'll see as we raise the light up even further, that's going to continue to happen. So we'll raise this up a little bit more, tilt my light even more. That's probably pretty good. Good. Change my focus here. Here we go. Okay, good. Now we can see, like if you look at the shape of her face, it's a little underexposed now, so I'm going to have to give myself more power because of my angle. You see now how it's narrowing the face, right? And luckily I'm using the Profoto so I can raise the exposure because I put it over my head. I'm going to go up 3/10 of a stop. Take another shot. Get a focus going. Here we go. Nice. There we go. Now, we are starting to see, this is the only problem with this now, we're going to start to see if there's any imperfections under the eyes and stuff. You're going to definitely start to see it now. So everything's a trade-off. I think I can go a little bit further with my angle and a little bit higher. And for this, I'm actually going to step it in a tiny bit closer as well. Obviously, I move my light closer. I'm going to turn my exposure down a smidge. That's a technical term. There we go. Now we can really see it coming around. So let's just try, because I think you started to creep a little bit. Come centered on the light. There we go, right there. Yeah, it's perfect. Bring your face like this, right there. Good. Okay. You can see now how it's like really narrowing the face. And you can see, especially like if you want to focus on the lips, like you can really see that you're getting that shadow there to show the shape of the lips. We are getting a bit dark though coming into the face, and that can be pretty easily rectified with the use of a reflector board. It's just a simple white piece of foam core. You can also put hors d'oeuvres on it. Good. And we can see that fills in nice, right? So now we've got a nice kind of beauty style shot, nice clean light on her face. And honestly, if you look at this, right? If you were coming into to light for the first time and you were thinking where you're gonna point your light, if you look at where this light is pointed, I mean, it's literally shooting more or less in front of her. I'm just catching her with the edge of the light here, shaping her face, and then all this light coming down here, we're bouncing back up to give her a nice fill in her face. So You don't always have to point your light right at the model, right? Using what you know about light, you can bounce it around and get various effects. And this is, kind of a nice, simple beauty shot. So I'm just going to shoot a couple like this because Erica needs more shots for Facebook or her professional page. Let's get a few there. Let me just get my focus right. That's pretty. Good like that. Like that. And up there. Good. Good. Nice. There we go. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Put the reflector in. Actually, I wanted some variety. Remember that whenever you mess up, always blame the model. It's important. Yeah. That's back. Good. Can you bring your chin down a little bit? Right there, right there, right there. Just like that. Subtle expressions. When you're shooting a headshot, you just want to go for subtlety. Nice. Beautiful. So nice and simple. Again, using the angle of the light to create the contrast. You can do this with one light, you can do it with two lights, you can mix it up a little bit, but I wanted to just keep it really simple for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV. You can follow Erica on Instagram, Erica Lindbridge. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube, Daniel Norton Photographer, and I'll see you next time on set.